there's a lot of rappers behind the scene that want to talk about it and they're scared. But sweetheart, I'm not scared. I'm legendary in these streets. You know how many artists I've spoken to behind the scenes that are too afraid to speak up?
So you'll speak. We'll speak, y'all.
I'm gonna speak because y'all can't touch me. I am completely protected. I am protected by God. Y'all don't see that by now?
Rapper Nicki Minaj was the apparent target of a swatting call last night at around 7 p.m. The LA County Sheriff's Department received a call claiming an assault with a deadly weapon had occurred at the Grammy winner's Hidden Hills residence.
You got to be working with them. As far as I'm concerned, Roc Nation is prime pocket up. You know what I'm saying? Why would people think the government don't run businesses? You don't think by right now that they got a major rapper that's a snitch?
Nicki Minaj just came out swinging with real receipts. She's not playing around, y'all. She's straight up accusing Roc Nation of masterminding a takedown operation aimed at rappers. And she's not keeping it vague either. She's calling out names like Jay-Z and Desiree Perez, a convicted criminal who turned government informant. But it gets even messier. Nicki's drawing direct connections between Roc Nation and several high-profile legal battles. Tory Lanez' sentencing, 6ix9ine snitch label mess, Casanova's RICO case, and the one name that keeps popping up, Desiree Perez. But here's where the plot goes. Wild. Desiree's own daughter is backing Nicki up. She came forward with claims that her own mother had her locked up in a mental institution for no legit reason. Imagine that. If Desiree's willing to do that to her own child, what do you think she's capable of doing to someone like Nicki? Especially now that Nicki is leaking documents suggesting Roc Nation's been working hand in hand with the feds. And before you brush this off as another rap conspiracy, go do your homework. Desiree's daughter did speak out, and not a single major media outlet covered it. Not one. That's exactly why Nicki's airing it all out herself.
I have no clue what is happening. Y'all don't know what the we go through. At the workplace, you know how many women, I said this on Twitter, get strategically blackballed out of their positions when they're a little too strong, when they're a little too smart, and get told that they're angry black women and they're having a breakdown?
With screenshots, paperwork, and cold hard facts. So let's get into exactly what Nicki dropped, because it's explosive. She posted a screenshot that claims Roc Nation, along with Desiree Perez, has been teaming up with federal authorities to spy on artists and use their legal issues like puppeteer strings to control them. And it's not just some random gossip. The screenshot clearly labels Desiree as a confidential informant for federal law enforcement, like that's literally how she's described.
Legally, I can't go home.
No, you cannot.
Why?
Because you're being Baker acted.
Body camera video shows the moments Broward deputies encouraged Demore Hadley to get into this pickup truck with people she says she didn't know.
I can ride with you and you guys take me?
You're going to be in handcuffs, so dog's not going to be able to come?
I don't want to be in handcuffs.
Okay.
Demore says they took her to a hospital for a mental health evaluation after this doctor signed paperwork saying she was a risk to herself.
What he told me was, we received a call from your family that you tried to OD the night before.
A doctor she says she'd never met before. And according to Demore, it's her own mother who's behind it. In this lawsuit, she claims her mother, Desiree Perez, used unlawful means to have Demore falsely detained under Florida's Baker Act and Marchman Act.
So she's the CEO of Roc Nation, a company that she owns along with Sean Carter, the famous rapper.
But here's the kicker. The document Nicki posted didn't come from some shady DM or anonymous blog. It's straight from a real lawsuit filed by none other than Desiree Perez's own daughter, Dare Hadley. According to those court docs, Dare says Desiree had her thrown into a mental institution with no legit medical reason. Now brace yourself, because the reason Desiree allegedly had her own daughter locked up is downright disturbing. According to Dare's legal complaint, Desiree used her money, power, and influence to destroy Dare's marriage to her husband, Javon Hadley. Dare says her mother even threatened her with the Baker Act if she didn't leave Javon. Yeah, that's the Florida law that lets cops, judges, or doctors force someone into psychiatric hold for 72 hours if they're considered a danger to themselves or others. But it gets worse, way worse. Dare claims the only reason Desiree wanted her to end the marriage is because Javon is black. Let that sink in. Desiree Perez, the same woman Jay-Z trusted to run Roc Nation, is being accused of making disgusting racist threats against her own son-in-law. And Dare didn't stop there. She included the exact quote in her filing. She says Desiree grabbed her and said, I'm going to Baker correct you. If you stay with that N-word, I will have you committed. That's not just toxic, it's horrifying. To back up her claims, Dare included dozens of pages of medical documents showing she was totally sober, mentally stable, and not going through any kind of episode. When Desiree had her daughter locked away, Dare didn't stay quiet. She clapped back hard on X, formerly Twitter, and put it all out there. She posted her medical records and called out the lies being pushed by fake blogs, burner Instagram accounts, and shady social media trolls. In her own words, Dare wrote, "I had blood work, urine screens from 3 different places on separate occasions. A hair follicle test shows over 3 months of any drug use, and I've got over 10 years of primary care records with full screenings." And then she dropped the bomb. "I have never done drugs. I have never drunk alcohol, period." She came with receipts, not just opinions. So how does this all circle back to Nicki Minaj? Oh, it ties in perfectly. Nicki's been trying to warn everyone about Desiree Perez and Jay-Z for years, but folks kept calling her bitter and brushed her off. Remember the drama between Nicki and Megan Thee Stallion last year? When they were going bar for bar in those diss tracks, that's when Nicki hinted she was ready to go nuclear and expose Desiree's shady dealings. Nicki even wrote on the next song, "I delve into all the people Desiree allegedly fired for unknown reasons, other things as well." And apparently, some of those firings were straight up petty. According to Nicki, Desiree asked a bunch of Roc Nation staff just because they were Nicki Minaj fans. Imagine losing your job for who you listen to. Nicki wasn't bluffing either. She said, "She's willing to go broke to try to replace me. Fix it, Jesus." And now, Dare is backing every bit of that up, saying Roc Nation and her own mother have been doing evil stuff behind the scenes to sabotage Nicki's career. In a recent interview, Dare dropped another bomb. She says Roc Nation didn't just come for her, they came after her whole family.
She has been through some trauma and some abuse with Roc Nation, with Desiree Perez, with other individuals. They've abused her. They've abused of her platform. They've abused of her talents. They've abused of her freedom of speech. They've abused her family. They've attacked her husband. They've attacked her child. And it's sad.
She claims they targeted her husband and her son, turning up the pressure in ways that sound straight out of a thriller. They even compared her own experience being forced into a mental hospital to what Nicki Minaj went through.
Roc Nation, my mother Desiree Perez, all these law firms, Quinn and Emanuel, Reed Smith, they have a lot of money and connections and resources. It's really sad. Somebody so resourceful, talented, high profile as Nicki Minaj being targeted. It should really scare the American people. It should really scare you guys too, right? Because I'm the daughter, so it's like at this point, if it's happening to me, I think she's really outspoken, and I'm grateful that she's being outspoken on it, because I think she's almost saying it like, well, it happened to me, it's happening to her, let me speak up on it. Nobody is safe right now.
And she didn't sugarcoat a thing. She said Desiree Perez and Roc Nation are way more evil and dangerous than people think. She made it clear what's going on behind the scenes is way darker than the public knows. And when Nicki saw Dare's lawsuit and interviews, she went off on X. She posted a scathing response to everyone who doubted her, saying, "To the DMs who claim it wasn't made clear to your ugly asses, hopefully Dare's massive and detailed page-by-page claim gets you all the way caught up. And never call me a liar. Never insinuated either." Nicki didn't stop there. She added, "Every single angel ever created fights for me at the mere mention of that word as it relates to me. Vengeance is the Lord's. Be careful. No one who conspired on the wrong side will go unpunished for the role they played in this movie. I hope it was all worth it." That's straight up war talk. Then she confirmed it. Roc Nation really did go after her husband and her child. She said powerful people are still working overtime to rip her family apart. And here's where it gets even crazier. Remember those swatting incidents at Nicki's home in 2023? Someone kept calling the cops with false claims, saying Nicki was harming her child. When LAPD first showed up at Nicki's house, they did a full sweep. No fire, no drama, nothing illegal. But just a few hours later, boom, another 911 call came in. This time claiming there was a fire at that same exact address.
Another call was made in the early morning hours, and around 3 a.m. Minaj and her family were awakened after a fire was reported at her home. Firefighters arrived and found no flames. Swatting is a term used by law enforcement officials used to describe an act of making a false report in order to get a response from police that can involve an armed SWAT team.
Total lie, and it didn't stop there. A few weeks later, it escalated again. This time, someone called in a fake emergency saying Nicki had been shot. Cops rushed over once more, and just like before, nothing was found. No crime, no emergency, just pure chaos aimed at Nicki's doorstep. According to the LA Times, the LA County Sheriff's Department got a 911 call about an alleged shooting in Hidden Hills. The caller claimed a friend shot a black woman, but once officers investigated, it was confirmed to be another swatting attack. And a neighbor even confirmed to LA Times that law enforcement swarmed Nicki's home. Now look at the pattern. It's not random. This wasn't just trolling. These were back-to-back swatting hits, clearly meant to scare Nicki and rattle her family. And all of this happened while she was actively calling out Roc Nation and dropping hints that something way bigger was happening behind closed doors. Here's what you can't forget. Desiree Perez has one seriously dark past. And Nicki Minaj, she got targeted because she dared to speak on something nobody else in the game had the guts to say out loud. That Roc Nation might not just be a record label. It could be a full-blown front for federal surveillance on rappers. And right at the heart of it, Desiree Perez, a convicted criminal turned federal informant, now holding one of the most powerful positions in the music industry. According to an investigative account on X called Resist Programming, it all goes back to 1994, when Desiree got busted with a jaw-dropping 35 kilos of cocaine and was charged with conspiracy to distribute. That's heavy time territory. Court documents reviewed by the New York Daily News confirmed she was part of a massive criminal operation that stretched from New York all the way down to Florida and Puerto Rico. But Desiree wasn't in it alone. Her husband, Juan O.G. Perez, was also deep in the mix. And here's the kicker. Juan is one of Jay-Z's closest homies. They've been tight since way back, and in the mid-90s, they even co-founded the iconic 40/40 Club together. Later on, Jay made Juan president of Roc Nation Sports. And guess what? They're still close family friends today. Now back to Desiree's case. You're probably asking how she dodged serious prison time after getting caught with that much coke. Easy. She flipped. She became a federal informant, cut a deal, and even wore a wire to help the feds lock up some of her former crew. According to a 2014 New York Daily News article, the feds were so impressed, they called her their star mole. That same report called her a Manhattan nightclub manager with a wild rap sheet and close ties to Jay-Z. It also said she had a long history as a DEA cooperating witness and fugitive. Nicki Minaj isn't holding anything back. She straight up called both Desiree Perez and Jay-Z government snitches. According to her, Roc Nation isn't just about music. It's actually a front designed to keep the rap game on a short leash under federal surveillance. She's saying this label might be helping set up rappers, locking them into legal traps while pretending to manage their careers. And the name that comes up first? Tory Lanez. He's probably the most high-profile example. Tory got convicted in December 2022 for allegedly shooting Megan Thee Stallion, but the case was messy from the jump. Key evidence all over the place. The gunshot residue didn't match the claim that Tory fired the weapon, and those bullet fragments that were supposedly taken out of Megan's foot, gone, vanished. Even the doctor said he removed them, but they were never seen again. Detective Stogner, who testified in court, admitted those fragments couldn't be located. And multiple witnesses, they actually claimed a woman fired the shots. Tory's team even raised serious doubts about the bullet's trajectory and questioned how the evidence was handled. The whole thing reeked of something deeper. And just before he was sentenced, Tory publicly accused Roc Nation of setting him up. He wasn't subtle. He pointed fingers directly at the label. Then after the guilty verdict came down, Tory's dad completely lost it outside the courthouse. He shouted at reporters saying, Desiree Perez, Jay-Z, and Roc Nation trade and barter the souls of young men. But Tory Lanez ain't the only one caught in this mess. Just like Nicki warned, any rapper who dares to push back or speak out against Roc Nation somehow ends up tangled in legal drama.
The rap game don't want y'all to know certain stuff, right? And I'm gonna expose the whole rap game right now because I got facts, right? This is what I do when I come on live. And shout out to the Queen Nicki, she'll be joining in just a few. She's an executive at Roc Nation. She's an executive at Roc Nation. You see her with Meek Mill. You know what I'm saying? She's an executive at Roc Nation. There she goes right here, right? Let's see who Desiree Perez is, right? The story that spooked Dash revealed how Perez, the wife of longtime Jay-Z wingman Juan Perez, became a cooperating witness for the DEA in the 1990s. Again, this is public information. This is public information.
And then there's Casanova, another artist tied to Roc Nation who got slammed with heavy federal RICO charges. But peep the timing. He had just started making noise about shady business moves at Roc Nation. And boom, next thing you know, the feds show up with indictments, almost like clockwork. Even the way Casanova's case was rolled out fits the same pattern Nicki's been exposing. Sign rappers to deals, control their every move, and when they stop playing along, set them up and tear them down. And here's the craziest part. Nicki's saying she's got a whole list of names, not just rappers, but also managers, execs, media folks, and even judges. If she decides to leak everything, we might be witnessing Roc Nation's entire empire crumble, live and in real time. If you made it this far, sound off in the comments. Do you think Nicki's telling the truth? Or is this all industry paranoia gone wild? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe if you want more deep dives like this.